Grownish, smartish, British.
We are British, apparently. Uh-huh.
My lips are dry. Are you running? And my lips are dry.
Is it fours? 4-0.
What? Yes.
Oh, okay.
You know we're running, right? You know.
Yeah, also.
All right, please hold the line while Ben does his.
No, I'm ready. Go. Go.
How do you guys go in? Do you do like an intro?
Oh, you're.
Hi guys, welcome back. Or do you just go straight?
Sorry.
I mean, you've just done our intro. Thank you very much.
Hi guys, welcome to the Grown.
Yeah, growing up British.
British. You
right
just
behind
looked up.
you.
You just looked up.
I know what it
saw
is. I stopped because I'm not really gonna. You really wanted to do the
Yes,
intro?
go ahead, sir. In that voice.
Hi guys, welcome to the Growing Up British podcast. We're back here on Radio 4
Listen, cut that
with our
out, man.
special
Until we get
guest
sponsored.
Ola.
Ola.
That's how they introduced me. On radio.
Ola.
Ola.
Yeah. Ola.
My brother's name is Yomi, and they say Yomi.
So my mum's name's Aliyah, but in Arabic they call her Ola.
Oh wow.
So
How does that translate?
Ola, I don't know. I can't tell you. mate.
Somehow. Ellie
It
means
just
beautiful,
works.
right?
Absolutely amazing.
How
So
do you
Ola
know
is
this?
It's an analogous.
Okay.
Somehow.
He's just giving himself credit for his own name. So guys, we are gathered here today
I've
with
been knowing stuff, by the
a
way.
special
I
guest
know. I've realised.
by the name of Ola.
I'm clapping because I have to.
You actually have to. Do we
you guys
explain
need
this?
to give me more claps for that. Like I really showed up for the
Hey,
second
clap,
time.
man. Clap.
For the second time.
Clap.
2 appearances,
I thought
one
it was-
actual
That
podcast.
is the African way.
That's what I'm saying. Man's North African, man. Don't get it twisted. We got it all. We got. I won't start today.
Funny.
But yes, you are watching, listening to Growing Up British with myself, Hebz, aka Mama Hebz. You can catch me on Instagram on I am Hebz.
Ben of LDN.
Your uncle's favourite uncle. Now you just want to skip that all out, yeah?
Yeah, all of that they know.
Because he's in a naughty corner, that's why.
The uncle's favorite uncle, Uncle Ben. Let's go.
And Ola,
Like the rice.
like the
Huh?
rice.
No, it's uncle's
Yes.
favorite uncle, isn't it?
No, Uncle Ben, yes, the rice. I'm so
No,
glad
you
someone's
could've
finally
said-
done it.
Where did the uncle thing come from? Where did your uncle's favorite uncle come from?
Your uncle's favorite uncle
Self-proclaimed.
came from me. 'Cause
Self-proclaimed.
rappers say I'm your rapper's favorite rapper. everything.
Yeah, but
So
where did the uncle come from? The uncle part is what I'm most
So I like
concerned with.
Spider-Man. So Uncle Ben in Spider-Man.
So not the rice.
No.
Not the rice.
I think the rice makes more sense, though.
To be fair, like the rice is what came to my mind
My
first.
favorite thing is Spider-Man.
Fair play, but
Literally proof.
that's
He
carries that right ready. Like, look, guys, not the rice, not this.
Your
time.
boy, King Khalil actually asked me, and he's like, yeah, my favorite superhero is Spider-Man. I was like, so is mine. And then he looks at my phone and he goes, that's Miles Morales. I said, yeah, I told you.
I don't know the connection, but I'm going to keep it stepping. So, Ola, where can they find you on the Instagram and the
At
socials?
Ola the comedian on everything.
Wow, consistent. I like
Consistent,
You
yeah.
got all
Some
of them.
people don't like
You
Yeah.
didn't have to pay for any of that. You just got them all.
Nah, man. There's only one. Actually, no,
Oi.
there are other Olas who try to be comedians, but I just let them know.
that. Humble pie.
Yeah, you ain't about to do this. This ain't what you want.
So just a big backstory, or quick backstory. Wow, that wasn't even English. This time last week.
Do we really have to go into
Yeah,
this?
we're going to
Yes,
do this.
yes, we do.
Do you
have to
know
go
why?
into this.
Because I think Ola deserves this.
I do.
As much as we can cover it up and act like it didn't happen, because, you know, it's show business and we can do it.
Yeah.
What had happened was Ben had one job, which is to bring Ola to the studio. He did that successfully, unknowingly, while we were in Copperbox watching the London Lions play. So, Ben, do you want to
Bro, didn't
apologise
understand the
publicly, please?
assignment, bro.
I didn't mess up the assignment. The assignment was actually executed.
Okay, because I actually got here.
Exactly. So the assignment was executed well. The extracurricular, the extra credit was me being here, and that wasn't here. So
I mean, for everyone to be here, including
much.
these guys.
like
in
I
the
was explaining to you off camera,
Yeah.
I am not used to people of a certain stature being like, yeah, I'll do that. I'm used to just getting aired. I'm used to just getting, and it doesn't faze me when I ask someone and they just don't talk to me. I'm so used to that because I'll just consistently just ask another person until someone says yes. So for every person,
I
that
mean, not to make you unspecial.
No.
but he'll
Yo,
try
I'm like,
every-
maybe I should have
he'll try-
said no.
he'll try
Like, if
all the Olas.
maybe I'm too available right
No,
now because
what
I showed up twice now for free. Like, what's going on?
And we
I can't
appreciate-
lie
No,
to
you
you.
got
Last
breaks.
week, I thought it was a setup. I thought some guys asked me to come to this spot in South London. Hey, come, don't worry, just show up.
Oh,
Just show up. I thought I was about to get rushed.
And then you come through.
I thought I was about to get rushed, you know?
I'm sorry.
It's
so
wild.
yeah, Ola showed up and we weren't here, and I was for a little bit of time. I was like, I don't have the courage to phone you because I didn't know what your temperament would have been like. The temperature. I just wanted to let him cool down for a couple of days.
Listen,
then I'll text. Then I'll message.
He said he was from Croydon, yeah, and I was like, okay, I usually reject Croydon, but at that time, I was like, I need to say everything to please him. I'm like, oi, you're from the ends. Usually, I'll be like,
Good that. After they mess up, that's when they want a big friend. That's
Yeah.
why I like it, man.
I'm sorry, man. It's just.
It's all good, man. We're here now. Let's
Are you
get to it.
happy?
No, I'm
Are you
happy,
okay?
man. I'm happy.
He's got
yeah.
fruits. The fruit.
How
Do you
is
know what?
here.
Do you know what it was actually? And this woman right here is an absolute asset to you.
100%.
The way she handled it, I was like, I almost felt bad if I felt bad. I was like, whoa, she's being way too nice. Like, I get it. This is annoying. And I was angry. But so much banter, so much life. I was like, all right, fine. All right, cool. No, chill. It's all right. It's all
I
right.
even offered to buy him a Happy Meal to cheer him up.
Exactly.
I was actually
You know?
going to be like, where you want to go out? I'll take you out for dinner or something.
Oh no,
just to say
allow it.
apologize.
Happy Meal sounded really exciting. Now you're gonna offer
there
like
you
some
go.
sexy fish levels. I'm not on your bank balance.
I'm not on that bank balance.
Yes,
let's
you
just get
are.
that out.
But
So
anyways,
let's just
Reading.
say, I think just to pat her on the back a bit more, she is very, very good at being able to galvanize people to do things that are beneficial for her and for everyone else. And she's very good at executing something. So that's what I'll give her.
Do you know what all it sounds like to
Fantastic.
other people? I'm really good at finessing people. I'm
No,
broke.
that's
and I'm
exactly what it
comfortable.
is.
No,
You're
I'm
very
not.
good at
If
finesse.
I'm
It's
good
not
at
a
finessing,
finesse.
I wouldn't be here.
not
Do
a
guys
finesse.
fall in love with you or not?
Small, small.
Yeah, small, right? We know the deal. We know the vibes right now. I know. I can see that a couple guys then gave up their whole rent check. trying to
jeez,
get
I'm
Hebz
right.
I
out,
got
man.
account numbers and sort codes.
No, you
so-
haven't.
I know, dude.
No,
I
of course
know
not,
for a
man.
fact.
I love the way Uncle Ben came to know you
No,
haven't.
you haven't.
Of course not,
Are you
man.
that good, bruv?
No,
Hey,
I refuse to. I'm not a money
I'm
chaser.
telling you, bro.
Bruv.
There's
What's-
at least 5 guys in this city we call London who are embarrassed at what they did trying to get her attention. I'm telling
What's
you.
that
for a
Will
fact.
Smith movie where him and Margot Robbie went to go and collect people's wallets and bank balances, then they were thieves? Have you seen that?
No.
No.
Oh, man. By the end of the film, I'll remember it.
So, guys, to move on swiftly, in the last episode that we filmed here, probably not the last episode shown, I had 3 other women in the studio with me, and I asked them. So we start all our episodes with "Would you rather?" So they're thought provoking. Sometimes they're stupid. We'll talk about doo and farts, but not today. I'm gonna switch it up and give you something deep. So I asked them these 3 questions. And I'm gonna ask you guys as well from a male's perspective. Would you rather be with someone you love or with someone who loves you? If you had to choose either or.
You love them, but they don't love you.
Yeah, or the other way around. If you had to choose, gun to your head. I don't condone violence.
Who loves me?
Who loves you?
Yeah.
What about you, sir?
Yeah, I think if a gun was to my head, I'd probably be selfish in that moment. I'd probably say, look, it's better that you love me.
Why is that, guys?
I can't. This is gonna sound. I've experienced a lot of things, and people, mainly my parents, have said to me, with relationships that have ended, if you are, do you think the other person is thinking about you while you're moping around doing? So that has been stuck in my head. So I don't really like trying to convince someone to love me.
Okay.
If you don't love me, then let me just go on my way, you go on your way. But yeah, that's the reason why.
Basically, we're afraid of rejection.
Pretty much, yeah.
I think a lot of people fear rejection, and I think to be with somebody who doesn't love you is a daily rejection.
He said it. Ola said it a lot more eloquently than I did.
That's why I'm here.
I mean, that's one of the things I picked up about him.
I feel like I'm going to be
well
showing up
articulate.
quite a lot. I
It's
feel
alright.
like I'm going to be showing up.
I'm going to be
Ola-
hella passive aggressive with you the
I'm
entire
feeling
time,
it,
and that's
I'm
my
feeling
right.
it,
And
man.
I know
I'm,
we
and
might
I'm
be
claiming it.
needing a new recruitment. Just putting it out there.
Whoa! Wow. I've
It's
already
a
been
Like
one in,
me
one
with
out
the
policy. All right.
So it's interesting because the women said that they would rather. So I said, my mum always said to me, get with someone who loves you more than you love them, because I think a man's attention can always sway, and it's like, I'm sure that's not her real reason only why, but upon reflection, that's what I gathered, which is when you have a guy that's really really into you, a lot of things become more organic and automatic. When a guy's not really into you, you're overdoing it. But I feel like also by nature, women are nurturers, so we have a lot of love to give by default. So I think generally speaking, in the long term, we will always love you guys, and we will always women are more likely to hang around longer than a man would.
Yeah, and men like to be catered to. So we always want to find the partner that not only will take care of us, but take care of the house and the kids and all of that sort of stuff.
But then there's also guys that actually want to constantly look after their partners, that they like to, their love language is buying gifts.
They're few and far between. There's not a lot of them.
What do you mean, bro?
There's not a lot of them.
You don't think most men want to look after their wives?
Yeah.
But as in like,
you
overly,
also
you
want
take that role.
Yeah, but you want to be looked after.
Yeah, you want to be looked after and you want to look after somebody. Like, so I think it goes both ways. But in this situation, because it's very constrained and it's, you know, very much like a binary this way or that way, I think, you know, if we had a real situation, I mean, biblically anyway, never really asks wives to love their husbands. It says wives should respect their husbands and husbands should love their wives. So, and that's catering more to the mega needs. Like the mega need of a woman is to the security or the emotional security that being loved provides. But for men, you know, it's not that we don't enjoy some of the romance and some of that stuff. That's all fantastic. But I think it's way more important you respect me. Because if you respect me, then all these other things fall into place anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I think respect goes a long way. And I think a man's, is it ego or pride? I don't know which one it is. But when a man's disrespected by their partner, then it changes exactly how they react and respond to them and how they receive information.
I don't think men can hear if they feel disrespected. I feel like your message won't even get through.
It won't land.
It won't land. If everything you said comes through the lens or the filter of disrespect, everything you say is out of the window.
I agree.
You could even say
lose
like, I think you should buy Bitcoin. Because I know it's gonna go up tomorrow, and if I feel like you're disrespecting me, I'll be like, I'm not buying that Bitcoin. I'm not taking that profit. Bun this guy. You see what I'm saying? But,
say no more.
But this is one of those key things, and it's the same for women when it comes to security. If she doesn't feel safe when you're saying what you're saying, she's not gonna hear anything you're saying. You can say whatever.
She's
you
not
can give her the best
convinced.
advice.
If you're trying to sell her a dream that doesn't have that security involved, you're right.
Exactly.
And I think
This guy's good.
I'm saying replacement. Don't worry.
He's like a. Have you ever thought about running? I know you do Sunday service, running a church and giving sermons.
Bro, relax, man. Relax.
He ain't no
Next
scholar.
thing is always open the church, man. Let's love on people for a second. Can we do that?
Who's the pastor that SPAC Nation?
No, man. No, we don't need to do that.
I know
We don't need to do
there's
that.
a controversy around him, but
All right, so my next question to you guys. I was going to dive more, but I feel like we're going to digress too much. Would you rather be a child and never grow up or instantly be an adult and never age?
oh, adult. Hell no. Not even no child. No.
Be a child and never grow up, or be an adult and never age.
What age are we talking about though?
No contingencies, no
Alright, cool.
variables. It is what it is. You choose the damn age you want and it is what it is.
Adult.
You know how much fun you have as an adult?
True. I think I'm stuck in between. I was on the fence because I feel like a
You
child.
can't do that. You just made us pick, and then you're like,
It is my question. I choose whether I want to answer or not.
What is this?
But I'll give you both answers.
Don't worry, she does this every week. Go ahead.
No, I don't. I'm very, very
Go
solid in
ahead.
my answers.
Go ahead.
But anyways, a child has a level of innocence and naivety. And I think I see that in my son every single day. When I'm going through any hardship or the world's going crazy, he's just in his own little bubble.
Yeah.
And I think it's a beautiful thing to see. And to an extent, I wish I had that. I feel like I'm too aware, like my lens is too raw.
Because you've been through stuff. The only difference between an adult and a child, apart from
Experience, yeah.
is experience. Age and growth, that's experience.
So to an extent, I'd rather be a child.
Nah.
But then the adult life, if you reach a certain level of contentment, you can
That's
achieve
it, I'm
a level
done.
of
Yeah,
happiness.
I'm all right. You don't need anything else. You
can go into like watch 15 movies.
That's it. You're good.
Your priorities be all over the place. Man. What's going on?
Listen.
No, but I understand your reasoning.
As a child, someone is still in control of you. I don't want to be you want to be able to do whatever you want. Go wherever you want, be with whoever you want, do the things that you really, really want
I'm
to.
not going to lie, my
focus on
grown
that.
ass age, my mom can say no to me now, but okay.
Yeah, of course. There are some
Like,
people that can do
literally.
that, but you're not 24/7 being commanded to wake up at this time, go to bed at this time, eat this food. And, no,
Is that not
I,
life?
I think this question is revealing a lot about the sort of priorities that rule your mind and your way of thinking.
Don't let the
And-
movies be a real example. I was joking.
No, I just mean like your focus on the freedom to do what you want to do.
Of course, yeah.
If I was going to read into your life, I'd probably say that you've probably been constrained in certain
No,
areas,
not at
and
all.
then now you
Nah,
that you
not-
really value this freedom.
Not
now.
at all. I was told I could be anything and go out and do anything.
Yeah.
So then-
Literally, I was told that from
Okay.
from when I was young. You can do whatever you
So
want.
what's made you value your
I just like,
freedom?
I like being an adult, and I like the person I'm becoming and growing into.
Go on.
I love it.
So with that, it's not about me being constrained at a younger age. It's
Yeah.
about that being taken away from me. And I can just imagine if I wasn't able to do all the things that I want to do, like not going to brag. I've been to every single continent on this earth and have not paid a penny for it. So imagine that being
I've
taken
been
away
to
from
Brighton.
me. How
You been to Brighton? Yeah, big
I
up
love
you.
it. I would love
Couple
it.
of
Seriously, okay.
Parking
ne-
24 hours though,
I've
dead.
never been to Brighton.
Oh wow.
That's how international he is. Bad Brighton.
I've never
I
been
ain't
to
got no
Brighton.
airport. Why am I gonna be there?
So
No valet parking.
But your answer was giving me like absolution of responsibility vibes. Do you feel like you prefer life if you had less responsibility,
I'm constantly responsible for a lot of things.
including this podcast?
Oh,
Including
exactly.
this podcast.
So
It's by nature. Sorry, Ben.
No,
It's
that's
by
good.
nature for me to do so. I'm built this way. I've been set up this way from a very young age. But at the same time, it's like that's why when people go, "Oh, you're strong and independent. You don't need a man." I'm like, but I do because I actually want to hand over the
wanna let go.
responsibility. As much as I'm strong, I'm traditional.
Yeah.
Like, I'm mad old school. Like I want to go. Here you go. Do the bins. Take the bills.
Wow. Do
Yeah.
you know how to let go?
Yeah, but I think it requires some time because
Okay.
it's unlearning behavior.
Yeah.
So I'm very
Fair play.
mindful of the fact that I've gone from I was previously married, so I've gone from being that wife to I'm now a single mum raising young king. So I need to just be as well equipped as possible to ensure I'm raising him in the most beautiful manner. So I have to take on anything, and I can't fail at anything. So
that's a huge responsibility.
How do you guys get on this podcast? Because I'd love to ask more questions. But
Yeah.
I don't want to turn it into a full.
so
therapy
welcome to the
session.
interview. No, well, what do you mean? How did we get onto this?
Well, I mean, I was just gonna. Do you know what? Yeah, let me hand this off. This is not my podcast. You guys.
No,
go
go.
ahead.
You got one question. Go on.
What was the cause of the breakdown of your marriage?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
We're doing therapy. I thought you
Something
asked-
light to get started with, you know.
God
Something
damn.
light to
Hey,
get started
has anyone
with.
got like?
Just ease
Can I sit
into it.
over there? You two can.
I need that seat. So I
But you've explored these themes throughout the whole series of this. So
Yeah, I think it's different values and different levels of growth. My parents were married for 44 years before my dad passed away, and they were goals. So marriage was always going to be on the table. We worked through everything.
Yeah.
But when one person's kind of sometime-ish and one person doesn't quite understand what the value of marriage is,
Yeah.
you're talking to a brick wall effectively. And it just becomes more and more hostile, more resistant. And then I realize I'm filling up someone's cup and I'm like, there's drought here. Do you know what I mean? On my end. So what are you serving me? I'm serving you this, that. And we're just coexisting.
Yeah.
We've got a beautiful son, which is why I have no regrets. I don't regret anything in life anyway. Everything's a beautiful lesson. But yeah, I think it was just a decision I made because I felt like I don't want to waste my life for the sake of being in a marriage.
All right.
Moving on swiftly, sir.
All right.
That's all you wanted. Just wanted to pre. You could ask me that off camera.
Oh
now.
no! It's gonna come up.
Ah, goddamn.
It's gonna come
Oh, okay. I see you. All right. Last, would you rather? Because we're running out of time. Would you rather have a happy family but live in poverty, or live in comfort but or have a broken home? I don't like the word broken because it assumes it's a very negative thing. So
What
money,
is it? Yeah.
broken family, so you don't have a unit, or a unit and live in poverty but be very content.
Live in unity over the financial.
you haven't made it very.
Yeah, because you said that we're content with the poverty that we're in. So I prefer.
Yeah. So
I prefer the
happy family living in poverty.
100%.
Yeah.
No. Take the content and the happy family. 100%.
100%.
Okay.
It's not even a It's not even a contest.
So I'm
No,
gonna
exactly. Not even a conversation there.
Well,
What do you
no,
mean?
because you can live comfortably, be in a let's say a broken marriage, for example, and still be happy. Like you might still have. Ola, I'll move on swiftly, man.
Move
So
on.
guys, you have Ola here, aka the comedian, aka the father, the son, the husband. He's at
The Father, the
everything.
Son. I was like, what? The Holy Spirit's here as well. What's going
yeah,
on?
shame.
You got some great guests here today. What's going on?
So, sir, thank you so much for joining us. No, for real, for real.
Absolute pleasure.
We appreciate you coming down twice. I'm so sorry. It's fine.
I'm
Look,
healed.
Grapes,
I'm
grapes,
healed on
grapes,
this
grapes. So, firstly, like, I have heard of you before. I've watched you before. But Ben sent something over to us in a group chat, which is what I commented under. And you do like a Sunday service. Can you tell people a bit more about that?
Sunday Service is a live show concept that I came up with. It's a comedy show. I make it very clear it's a comedy show. It's not a replacement for church or anything like that, but it's themed like a church service. So we use I wanted to bring some of the elements I enjoy about church and bring that to a comedy setting. So there's stand-up, there's debates, and we all stand up at the end and we sing a song. Like there's loads of bits in between. There's confessions and all kinds of fun stuff. But I think the theme gives it a really good base with which to explore these different ideas, to bring people together, to enjoy a really good live show concept, and it was very unique as well. So that's something I was very proud of putting together. Yeah, that's Sunday Service, man.
That's cool. How long have you been doing it for?
Well, I mean, I think the first one I think was like March 2017.
Okay.
Yep. It was
My birthday month. Just putting it out there.
Okay. I had a daughter on the way. My wife was pregnant, and I needed something fresh. I needed something new.
You're just about to have a baby. What do you mean?
Is that not good enough?
No, because I felt like it was the first child. So I was a full-time comic at the time.
Right.
Okay.
So I needed to come up with something that was gonna I need to provide more. I need to take on more responsibility. So I was looking for what's gonna be my thing. What's gonna be my break. In the course of writing a show for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, I basically just came up with this idea on a whim one Sunday, and within 2 weeks had it up and running, and it was like, wow, this is actually good.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, I've had breaks in between, but since then it's kind of run up until start of the pandemic, which was, the last show we did was cancelled because live shows got cancelled.
Yeah.
And we haven't actually brought it back since then.
Okay, and how did your family... What's your origin, like your background?
Families, everyone's from Nigeria, Yoruba tribe.
And how did they feel about you being a comedian? You said, Mum and Dad, I want to be a comedian.
Yeah, so my dad wasn't really in the picture, but I've told him about this since we've like sort of got to know each other after I got married, and he's always just kind of been, I guess, cool with it. It was actually one thing that's quite intriguing. Actually, was that my dad's he's a thorough academic. Right now he's the vice chancellor of a university in Nigeria, but he moonlights as a music producer for local artists in Nigeria. So he started telling me that, like, back in the day when he used to live in Brixton, he was a music promoter and he went under the name Ola's Music, and it was like, okay, I do comedy as Ola the comedian. It's like, oh, interesting. We didn't know. And it's just one of those things that happens. And I find a lot of similarities in myself, in him, because he's that kind of person. My mum's interesting. She's kind of changed tact on a couple of occasions. I didn't tell my mum at the beginning. I waited till I was doing well. You can't tell your mum you want to be a comedian and still be bombing at the same time. You have to. So the first time she ever saw me do stand-up was when I sent her a DVD, and it was my DVD. I'd filled out a room, sold out the room, and shot my own DVD.
Sick.
So she was, I guess at that point, she was like, wow, well, more grease to your palms, like more grease to your elbows, God go with you. But over time, when it wasn't yielding like superstardom and huge amounts of money, she'd start to get worried and scared, like, maybe you're giving too much. Maybe you need your plan B. You've got a degree, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah.
What's your degree in?
Accounting and finance.
Okay, you're doing numbers.
Yeah, well, I'm all right. I did all right. I mean, I went to LSE. My plan was to become an investment banker. That was my whole path in life, and I really just took a whole
You
detour.
thought, no, my personality bangs, I'm funny. What are you talking about?
I think I just really began to value like living a passionate life, something I really cared about, and not just being money driven. But money is real. Money needs to be earned. So yeah, there are times where my mum has really gotten onto my case. Like,
Did you ever reach the WhatsApp group of like, the aunties where she's bragging about you to everyone? Go, look, my son.
I mean, I don't know. To be honest, I really tried to take my eyes off that kind of stuff. I'm sure she brags about me being married and having kids and stuff like that.
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know about if we really I think no, she has bragged about my career. Do you know why? Because one of her friends
Yeah.
saw me on the plane. She was watching the entertainment center on the
Oh,
plane,
snap.
and I was on one of the shows doing
That's
stand up,
sick.
and
That's
she
sick.
would like to my mom was like, "Yeah, that's my son, you know, like, he does stand up comedy, you know."
Go
She
on.
took that moment, and there's a couple moments like that where she's had a chance to really like show off.
Yeah.
You know, when I went to Nigeria, I got on TV there as well. Again, she was very proud about stuff like that, but
That's sick.
on a day to day. She ain't as proud when she sees my ballads.
It's all right. It's all right. Just keep showing her grandkids. Go, look, mum, look what I produced.
Exactly. Look, my
It's
testicles
interesting
work.
how you said that there were a lot of similarities between you and your dad.
Yeah.
And I've also experienced that myself in that all of the things that my dad told me when I was younger, I feel like I'm growing into the exact person he is because I'm telling my son the exact same thing.
Wow.
But do you
Almost the
feel
exact
with
same
you
thing.
that you're mirroring your father because you were raised with your father? So from my understanding, Ola, you weren't raised with your dad. You
No, I wasn't.
reconnected.
But then
most
that's
of my life.
that's even
It's
scarier
amazing.
because
It shows you how traits are.
because
yeah.
the passion that your dad had for music and still has for music,
Yeah.
you have almost had that same passion but in comedy, even down to the names that you hold
Yeah.
as maybe an alias or the stage name.
Yeah.
So that is really interesting, and yeah, it's wild how those parallels are just.
But that's
in-
why
in
that's
tune.
why it really upsets me when I hear that certain men don't involve themselves in their children's lives because like you don't realize there's someone out there who's walking like you.
Talking,
Like, literally not,
breathing,
like,
thinking,
There's a mini me you.
and they need for boys and girls. They need that person that looks like them or thinks like them, talks like them, and be like, try this,
Yeah.
and then just go and try it.
To inspire them
Just
because they
yeah,
thrive
just
off
try
you.
it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
100%.
help you. Just go and try. That's what I'm doing with my son now. Just do it. Just try.
Yeah.
Try. That's the biggest thing. Try. But I can't take this out. This Lego brick isn't working. Just try.
Right. Yeah. You're 100% right. And I think growing up without my dad, having a stepdad for certain periods of my life, and also growing up with just my mum, having every single version of that. Like I still remember some memories with my dad. I remember the times when they were divorced and I was doing like seeing
Back
him on the
and forth,
weekends.
yeah.
I remember when it was just me and my mom and my sister. I remember when it was us with our stepfather, and I'm now a dad. So I've seen many different iterations of what it looks like to have a dad in the house, and it's unmatched. You can't replicate it. You can't synthesize it. I think credit to every stepfather out there.
he's trying.
Stepfathers are able, funnily enough, stepfathers can actually do the job of a father, but what I mean is you can't synthesize it by just getting around some good male role models or whatever it is. Like having a father in the home is so key, man. I'm a big believer in that.
So obviously you just mentioned that you've seen it all. You've had the single mother raising you. You had stepfather involved. Your father at some point. How has that shaped you in regards to how you perceived marriage growing up?
So I've kind of gone through different iterations, different reactions to my situation. I remember when I was very young, I'd always dream of having a good marriage. I was always like, it was almost like a point of competition that I was going to do better than my parents did, and I was going to have a good marriage, and I was going to have a great life with my wife. There were certain points where I really lost all hope, and I thought I even thought it was to do being a comedian. I was like, I don't think comedians are supposed to get married, man. I don't think it's going to work. Because do you know what it is? The mentality and the reasoning behind it makes no sense now, but at the time it made sense. Every green room I was in with other comedians, there was always a dude in his 40s getting divorced, right? And they all chatting about their divorces together, and I'm the young guy in his 20s listening to them going, man, is this my future? But it was when Chris Rock got divorced, and I was like, he's one of the greatest comics of all time. If you can't stay married to Chris Rock, then what chance do I have? Somehow in my head, like him being a great comic meant he must be a great husband.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I know better, and I know that you can't look at stuff from the outside.
Yeah.
But I really started to believe like this stuff doesn't work, man. People just,
It's the comedy that was holding you back.
you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's comedy, maybe it's just marriage in general. Like I just got on a real downward spiral. So I've gone from being like almost obsessively anticipant of wanting to be married to being like, I think I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life and everything in between.
All right. What about you?
No, I knew. So even though I was there for my parents splitting up and having a divorce, I knew I was going to get married. I even wanted to mimic the way my parents got married down to the age.
Despite them being split.
Didn't
at the
care.
end.
I knew exactly. I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to be married, get married, have children. I knew I wanted to have a family. That was always in my plan. And it's interesting for me because I've never heard another person, especially another man, say, yeah, I knew I was going to get married. I thought it was just me.
So I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of men who unfortunately experience a broken marriage or parents split, and they grow like a level of not even anxiety, but they're slightly apprehensive to the idea of marriage, or like, will it ever work out if my parents didn't work out and my mum's amazing or my father's amazing? Wait, there's no hope. So they're very cynical at the idea of it. And I feel like when you're experiencing something negative, and if you want to see it as negative, I guess, you either want to be absolutely everything that's not that, because it's giving you more drive to go, do you know what? I'm not going to be like my father, I'm not going to be like my mum, or whatever it is your environment. I'm not going to be poor if you grew up in poverty. Or you kind of fall into the cycle and they are the only thing you know, and you start mimicking that behavior and the certain things that you tolerate and normalize as a result. My parents were married for 44 years. I thought I'd be married for life, like 100% adamant. I watched them. I watched the dynamics grow, change, what marriage was when they were younger, how they've evolved, and how beautiful it evolves. Do you know what I mean? The level of respect, the loyalty, just them even like how they supported each other differently. Like we mentioned earlier, you know, a man wants to look after his wife, but I feel like we have different roles. Do you know what I mean? Like a man wants to serve his woman wants to serve his man, but we have different positions. It's not, you're buying me a gift, I'm buying you a gift. I'm nurturing you in a different way. Financially, as a breadwinner, you want to provide a gift to show your appreciation. But mine might be a meal, it might be your to counsel you if you need to speak. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I watched them do that. And I was adamant I was going to get married young. I was going to have my first child at the age of like 22, 23. I thought, I need a husband. Slight problem. But it was my focus. I need to get married because that's goals. So when my marriage split, I was like, hold up, this is not the plan. But then it's like, you can't just stay for the sake of. So I think it's just one of those things. How much has faith, obviously your Sunday service that you do, how much has faith impacted your household as a child? And how much has it helped you evolve into the man that you are?
So I think in my childhood, in my home, faith was a huge part of everything we did. Funnily enough, it starts from even before I was born. My father is Muslim and my mother's Christian, and I know like Islamic men are allowed to marry Christian women, but Christian women really aren't supposed to be marrying Islamic men. So according to scripture, you're not like, can two walk together unless they agree, is one scripture. Do not be unequally yoked. So there are loads of scriptures that kind of warn against it, but for some reason, and probably a little bit of premarital fun, it led to me. Now, when I hear them discuss how faith was played out, it was very much kind of like everybody gets to do their own thing. But I, to be honest, I don't see how long that would have even really lasted. Now they're living with my mum alone. Her Christianity is staunch. It's embedded in everything she does. So we're listening to praise music in the car. We pray about everything. Like I'm a young age, I'm learning Psalms and so on. So in my head, I knew that faith was going to be huge, but it wasn't mine yet. It was more of like a cultural faith, or it was more of like a received or imposed upon faith. And then over time, it's like I've gone through the stages of like, well, okay, I've made a decision for myself, but I'm still messing about a bit. And then I've gone to like where I am now, where it's like I cling to the cross. Like I need this faith because I've been through some real stuff. That's like, yo, I know that God got me throughout this jam, so I know there's only God that's gonna sustain me. So I think in terms of the progression, faith has just become increasingly important over time.
Would you express faith as your North Star? Or the stuff that guides you to where you want to go, how you want to be. How would you express what is it that faith gives you that holds it in such high regard?
Do you know what? There's so many things, but I'll list a couple. One is hope. The Bible says that, God says, my plans for you are good and not of evil, to give you hope and an expected end. So when I'm going through anything, what lets me know that one day it's going to be better is my faith.
Yeah.
Second of all, it gives me guidance, like you're talking, like that North Star. So what I tend to get from it that I really value is the fact that there are a lot of situations where I feel like even if I tried to rely on my own moral compass, I could be easily misguided and corrupted. You start off saying like, I don't believe I should do this, and then someone offers you a bit more money, like maybe we could do this. You know what I'm saying?
Into
Like,
that a little
we could
bit.
do it. So I am corruptible, but when I
Yeah.
go back to the scripture, or I go back to pray, or I go back to Christian community where I'm held accountable, have a pastor, and my wife is able to hold me accountable with the word. I've always got that level set to go back to, which I really value, because I know that without it I could definitely go off the rails. And there are other things, but those two are the big
Can
ones,
I
like the hope
say,
and the level set.
Everything you've said, I agree with. So I'm Muslim, and a lot of people are trying to push the interfaith thing with me, and I'm just like, yo, I'm very solid that you have to have a consistency at home of solidness, whatever that foundation is. People are like, oh yeah, but I'm spiritual. I have like my moral compass. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yo, you got. We all have moral compass. You've articulated it beautifully. And actually, one of the things I wrote about you was the fact that you can go from comedy, but then the way you articulate yourself by certain points, you're very concise and it's very clear. So that even though we're different faiths, I agree with every point that you made, because
Thank God for that.
as far as the fact that I need my faith to guide me, because I can go on my own guidance, but I need something stronger to set in stone to keep me in. And we believe also after hardship comes ease, or with hardship comes ease. So whenever you feel like you're stuck, or you feel like this is going down, you know that God's going to give you ease, whether it's going to be now or not. It's a test of your patience. So I feel like everything that you said, you hit the nail, I think. And it's nice,
man.
and it's nice to hear it from someone who is of a different faith, because some people don't understand it. They're like, oh, why are you so strict about your faith?
Like,
And it's like a Muslim thing usually. So it's actually good. I always tell people, there's a lot of Christians that want to marry from the church. Like, like it's important for you to have a spouse to hold you accountable.
And do you know what it is as well? It's the fact that if you have two people who are both convinced they're right, you can end up in a stalemate in which you never ever resolve it. And even if you think you've resolved it, that problem is still there. But you see, the thing is, like, if I think I'm right and you think you're right, the only way we can truly adjudicate is if we're completely out of this system, right? And that's why having a power that resides above and beyond anything that happens here on earth is so key.
Correct.
So what do you say to people that don't have that higher power to guide them?
To be honest, I don't say much to them along this line, because if you don't have this faith, it doesn't mean much to you. But what I would say is there are a lot of problems you're probably going through in life which would be much more streamlined and sorted out if you accepted the fact that you are not the highest authority in this situation.
Right.
Most of your problems are based on the fact that you are your highest authority and you are not perfect. You don't know enough. You don't have enough capability to deal with what it is you're going through.
As they say, we're only human.
We're only human, exactly. So your attainment is only as far as a human can go.
And also something you touched on, which is two people who think they're right. And you mentioned the problems, because obviously I feel like when two faiths come together, there has to be a compromise. And if you believe in your faith wholeheartedly, why would you want to compromise in a single element of it?
Very true.
And then on top of that, when you're arguing or you're disagreeing or something, I think beyond it. So me and you, like, let's just say I want no children. Me and you can hash this out. But now we have children involved and they have to witness this conflict. And then it becomes like, Dad will let you do things on the sly because mum doesn't know. Or like, this is haram, this is whatever, this is okay. And it's like, it becomes now almost like a friendly battleground. And it's just like, your children are going to mirror this, or they're going to resent the idea of faith.
They're looking at everything you do.
And that's why no matter how much someone tries to convince me they're going to respect my faith, I want to pray with you. I want to grow with you. I want to do all this. Like, I yearn for that. It's not even a case where, oh, my parents told me, so I must. Like, no respect to my parents, but I'm living for me, because I'm going to have to lay down with that person. And so I think for me, when people try and convince me, it's so frustrating and exhausting, Because I'm just like, bro, we can have this conversation. But now I can refer them to this episode. I'm like, listen, coming from a Christian.
It's a public service.
It's
so
also
I'm
the
doing
thing
right.
that, especially with men, I know for me, I've been in, not my experience, but guys, my friends, we're so embedded and happy with the chase, and to be able to chase after something that we can't have.
Oh.
Some guys actually enjoy that, and I've had to talk to my friend and be like,
Chill.
"Do you actually like her?" I was like, "Nah, bruv, it's all about the chase." It's like,
Wow.
dude. So
I'm not gonna lie, my personality bangs in it, so people do actually like me.
That's what I'm saying. I know guys be falling in love. That's what I've been telling you. I've been telling you. I know it when I see it. I know it when I see it.
But then I have to shut it down. I'm like, yeah, so you're not Muslim. I'll take my shahada tomorrow. No, you won't. No, you won't. All right. So, how's fatherhood going?
Wow. Okay. Fatherhood is good. It's going well.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start. It's growing.
it's always
It's
a good place to
growing.
start.
Like I'm figuring it out on the job.
As we all are.
Exactly.
As we all are.
Exactly. I'm figuring it out on the job, and I think also when it comes to fatherhood, I'm not just learning how to parent my children. I'm learning how to become the person I need to be in order to parent my children.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to just like go through this, like this is how to do this to your child. I'm trying to become the person I need to be so that I can do those things from a very real place. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to just for example, I don't want to just tell them try. I want to show
Lead by
them
example.
exactly that I'm the
100%.
kind of person that, you know, when you see your dad, if he's achieved something, he's tried and tried again.
Yeah.
So when I'm telling you to try, you're like, he's not only told me, he's not only giving me this gem, but I see him doing it. And so I know that the parenting journey is one of like a mutual development.
Yeah, and it's trial and error. Because some people do like say the whole "do as I say, not as I do," but I feel like it's the worst thing because your
I think
children
that's from a specific generation.
maybe.
So for Gen, it's all like I feel like the millennials and are of a
Age yourself.
aspect. Well, it's the truth. The millennials are of an aspect of I will help you to be able to achieve the goals that you had or goals that you want to achieve. The boomers were like, no, this is my authority. You do as I say, not as I do. This is
Yeah.
my way or the highway. And that was how mostly my childhood was as growing up. So I'm really excited to see what the Gen Zs do. And then past that,
I think
because they're gonna be-
generations kind of in a weird way like fashion, it recycles itself.
Yeah,
so there'll be
yeah.
generations that are slightly mash up. Then the next generation comes and fixes it. Then the other generation mashes it up again. It's
Yeah.
like god damn, it's a
Well,
hot mess.
I mean, they say that like good times create weak people create bad times, bad
There
times
we
create
go.
strong people,
that's
strong people create good times,
It's
good
a
times
cycle.
create weak people.
There we
It's
go.
a cycle. It just keeps going around.
It's
so.
a bit like generational wealth.
Yeah.
Those who worked hard, those who witnessed the working hard, and then those who just see numbers and they just take it for granted.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
just, and then it continues as it is.
Yeah. And I'm really fascinated by that as well because
Yeah.
I think that's the side of being a father and being a husband and being a man that I think is so key and undervalued is legacy planning. It's thinking generations beyond. It's working for things that you'll never see the benefits of
In your lifetime.
in
yeah,
your
yeah,
lifetime.
Yeah, correct.
And that is like a concept I'm still trying to get my head around. Like it's easy to raise your child because you want to see them go to a good university and have a happy life. But can you not buy something now because you want to see 3 generations down be able to experience
that
that
and
wealth?
then
That's a level of
Do you know how much I struggle
selflessness.
with that, even right to this day?
Bro.
When you said the legacy thing, do you know how much I struggle with that? Even till today. Should I buy, and it's going to be so stupid, should I buy these pair of trainers now that are X amount of money? Or should I put that money into funds so my child can, at 19, have this to get him on his way of life or start life with?
Yeah.
I struggle with that every day.
And do you know, do you know what's key about that as well? Like Hebz was referring to, you can't just pass on the money. You have to pass on systems, institution, and wisdom to go with it.
100%.
So that, like, if you look at the Grosvenor family, they, the original Lord Grosvenor or whatever, just bought some swampy land.
Yeah.
It turns out to be Mayfair today, right? Now, set within their family structure is they cannot sell that land. They can't spend the money that they're making right now in terms of ground rents for Mayfair, I'm not sure they have Knightsbridge, but like a lot of the West End area,
That's
right? They can't
interesting.
spend that money enough.
Yeah.
And they've got, peerages and whatnot, like a family is set for life. But how did, it only takes one generation of alcoholics to squander
Mash it up.
everything.
Yeah.
So how did they manage to leave that, so they put it in tangible goods. They had, he had a belief in a system and an idea and put it down in a systematic way that no one can sell this property. The children are clearly reared in a way to understand that you are brought into wealth and there's a way you must conduct yourself. So I'm saying that, like, when you're building your family up, it's not enough for you to say, I'm going to leave them some money. It's like, you really have to, like, look at these children and say, well, I have to prepare you for what life is going to
You have
show
to
you.
embed strong foundations that can be generationally
Yeah.
passed on, as opposed to, oh my God, you gave me money for a deposit for a house.
Exactly.
And that's it. I
Where's
agree.
the integrity
But
that
it's
goes
a
with
lot
it?
of
Where's-
hard work, and I think that's what people don't understand. Like, parenting is extremely hard, and it's so intricate. But people just think, okay, my child's fed, he's roofed, we're good, and they coast. And I think that's such a shame, because they think they're doing a good job, but they're missing out all the key points of their children's lives to embed that level of, like, passed on knowledge. I want to touch on a few things because I'm again mindful of time. The video that I watched of yours was about the surrogate husband, and it kind of obviously hit a nerve with me automatically, because I'm a single mother,
Of course.
and I don't know how I responded. I'm trying my best not to be defensive. I think I tried to articulate myself okay-ish. I don't know if you saw my comment. No, you liked it. Like, yeah, whatever. he didn't even reply. He just went, yeah, cool. Keep it stepping. What made you, so you mentioned that you've linked it to your mum, right? So when did you realise that you were becoming, so are you the only child?
No. My mum has 4 children altogether. I'm her only son and I'm her firstborn.
Okay, there we go. So when did
That
you...
in itself, let's just
It's
be
a big
very
deal.
clear. You are the first boy you are almost going to have to be the second dad of the household.
So
automatically.
So yes, but then also if he was the youngest child as well. So you mentioned also, and I'm going to say this wrong, I've been trying to say it for the longest. What's the word? Infantilation?
Infantilization.
Has it? Infantilization. There we go. So there's if you're the youngest child, youngest son, only son, you could possibly fall into that gap as well, that bracket. So it's just, so firstly, what made you realise that, oh snap, I'm the surrogate husband? And can you explain what that is for those who don't know?
It's a beautiful concept.
So one thing I began to observe is that, in this world, people come up with their own ideas, people change things, people tweak things and so on. They don't always know the full implications of what they're doing when they make these changes. But then they see it, and the same base desires, the same urges are there, the same needs are there, but they have a different situation. And I think that's, in general, big picture, that's what's happened with women over the course of modern history. There have been so many sweeping changes, but no allowances made for natural desire and needs and how that relates to reality. So for a lot of women who have been faced with easier divorces, have been faced with a disposable income, been faced with a feminist revolution, control over their own reproductive cycle, all these different changes that have happened, it's not necessarily been matched up with the right values and so on that's going to actually get the results that they want.
Yep.
So a lot of women are left in a situation where they can go, do you know what? I, deep down, everything in my body is screaming, I want a child, right? But these men are too much trouble. How can I get to what I want and not go through the required training for it, the required steps and processes for it? Because first of all, before you have a child, you're supposed to learn how to work with a man, right?
Correct.
And then you learn to work together so that you can bring the child up together, build a family, show them what marriage looks like so that they can go on and replicate that. That is one of those institutions that you build in to maintain wealth over your generations, to maintain harmony.
You've spoken about wealth, haven't you?
And build a wider
Marriage, yeah.
society.
Dude,
right?
the biggest, sorry, I'm just going to interject. The biggest thing that can really damage riches and wealth is divorce and separation, because society and capitalism want people to be single. They encourage you to be together, but they really want you to be single. It makes more money.
Yeah, there's more money in the chase of it. As long as you're spending money on dates, renting one-bedroom apartments,
There you go.
going out to restaurants and so on, it stimulates the economy.
Yeah.
Families start to do budgeting and whatnot, which is
digressing,
annoying.
guys. We're
But anyway,
digressing.
we're digressing.
Back
You're
to your
very
mum,
right.
please.
You're very right. So with my mum, with the approach to having children and building a family is a lot of women who have skipped the step of learning to work with a man or have had children and never fully addressed the problems with the man, and then it's now spilled over and so on. So I don't think the desire to have that husband who's a provider and protector has gone away, but I think the belief has been that, like, we'll make it work. I'll make it work with my child. So what I believe happens after that is, because those same needs are there, they're displaced. There's no husband to put it on. And so a young boy growing up gets a lot of the displaced emotions on him.
Interesting.
And I say this quite a few times, that, like, for a lot of single moms, their son is their ideal husband because they get to mold him, shape him. They get to tell him what they think a real man is. They've never been a man, but it's just based on what they would like. So they say a real man should help in the house because they want someone to help in the house. A real man is going to protect women
But
because
could they
they
not
want to
be
feel
able to taught that
protected.
from what they've seen their fathers doing? For
Pardon?
example?
No.
Why not?
No.
Could they what, sorry?
As in, like you said, they have this idea of what a man is, but could they have not been influenced by their parents' example of what a man should be, what they've been raised for a man to be?
Describing it from the outside is very different from teaching someone from a place of experience.
Yeah.
It's very easy to say protect women, but it's not very easy to teach a boy to protect women.
Yeah.
So women have observed men, and let's be honest, put a lot of tweaks on it. So they'll look at their dad and say, I liked this about him, and I didn't like this about them. So a real man is everything I liked about my dad, and then everything I didn't like tweaked, right?
Yeah.
So you're messing with the formula. You don't really know how it works, but you're like, I like the sound of this. This makes me feel good, so I'll put it on my son. Now he's never seen this before, but you're describing a concept to him that he has to somehow embody, right? There's a lot of negative emotion which can be displaced from the father onto the son, and there's a lot of undue positive attention that can be displaced from the father into the son. One of those key moments where I realized this was, every single training I had for marriage taught me that when you get married, your wife comes first. And that's even before your mom, that's before anyone. So I was like, fine, I get that. There was a couple of situations before in the run up to the wedding where my mom said something that offended my wife. My wife told me, and I had to go speak to my mom about it. My mom was okay. She was just kind of a bit defensive, but it wasn't too crazy. It was the first week of marriage. My wife and I stayed behind at the wedding venue to do a little mini moon. But the day we came back, we were just like so still on our high. We just went to like go to, home goods stores to like start planning out our
starting your life
apartment.
together.
We're starting our life together. Around that time, my mum had come from Nigeria, and we had rented her a car. It was winter time. We wanted her to be able to get to the wedding venue and just kind of generally get around. So I had gone with her to go get the car. The day we came back was the day she had to go return the car. The rental place was somewhere near Gatwick or whatever. So she said, yeah, it's time to go return the car. You coming? I'm like, this is my first week of marriage. I'm like, no, I'm with my wife. She's like, but you came with me to get the car. We need to go return the car.
I was not married then. I am married now.
Exactly. And this is a very key time in which I'm bonding with my wife.
Yeah.
My mum threw a fit.
Yeah.
She was very, very upset. She felt very, very abandoned. She felt very, very disrespected. And I was upset with her for doing that because I felt like she put undue stress on me to make that choice. But at the same time, I was very assured that I was making the right choice. Because I've heard her talk to me about how she was upset that my dad didn't pick her at times where she needed that support.
Okay.
So I was like, how are you not
She was
seeing...
deflecting, yeah.
How are you not seeing that you are now the person I need to protect my wife from, right?
Word.
So it's moments like that, and that's a very key moment for me where I realized that, my mom would jokingly, but call me her husband on many an occasion. you know, and
Yeah, that's dangerous.
it is
Very,
dangerous.
very
Yeah.
dangerous.
And I've realized that it's not even just in the calling of somebody your husband, but it's in the expectations you place on them, and the fact that you are essentially you're putting way too much attention on these children, because ideally in a two-parent household, the marriage should be the center of the marriage. Your children should know their place. They should know that mommy and daddy come first to one another.
Yeah.
And then I come in. So I learn that, okay, I don't get too much attention to the point where I think I run this place.
Yeah.
But second of all, so that I know a healthy balance of how to treat my spouse when I get married one day.
Word.
When you don't have that person to put your love and time and attention to, a lot of it goes on the kids. And so, you know, you can either go one way to the point where single mom's always out trying to find a new man, the kids feel neglected, or single mom makes her entire life about the kids.
Wait.
Kids
There can't be a balance, no?
I'm saying this is where it often goes. I'm sure there's some single moms that manage to do it.
But
I'm saying that's what I've observed.
I have the question to put towards you. So, a lot of cultured families have a mum and dad, but yet the mum will still be the hellish mother-in-law because there's no woman that's good enough for her son. So she's already built, we're going to use your term, surrogate husband, but she's got a husband sitting next to her.
Yeah.
But she's been so protective over her firstborn or her youngest born, and she's now placed him on a pedestal of, you know, he must do this for me and you can't take my time. I've seen this happen in married couples in like a solid household.
Yeah.
So I get to an extent there's some emotional issues when it comes to separation, but I feel like that exists also within a marital home where you've had that household set up where the man plays his alpha role, the woman plays the nurturer role, but she'll maybe fixate on her son as a project because
that
happens a lot.
The husband's not doing his role. First thing he needs to do.
Potentially, but that happens a lot.
Yeah, because a lot of husbands
cultures
are not deep in the situation. A lot of husbands do get it, and what you often find is husband and wife might fight over the son. For example, the dad might be like, he needs to get out and get a job. She's like, no, that's my baby. He's working on some stuff, like help him.
Yeah.
That happens, right? And there's obviously the ones where the dad's kind of passive and mum is just basically turning her son into a project. But if it's working properly, dad should be like, hold on a second, mum. I'm your husband. Let this boy go. He needs to grow. And if she truly has respect for him, she'll go, all right, fair play. I've been a bit too much.
I agree with you, but what I'm trying to say is we can't just umbrella it over single mothers because it happens in households that look on the outside healthy, but like you said, there's a mother who's more assertive, the father who's more passive. There's a lot of African men who will stay quiet for a lot of the times, and they'll only speak up when they're ready to speak up. They'll use their voice wisely, but sometimes they'll let certain things go which could potentially be damaging. So whilst they think they're using their voice in the correct, you know, I only need to be, if I have to step in, I'll step in, which is great intentions because your authority's there and it's firm and it's strong. But then you might let certain things and opportunities to rein certain things in sooner because it's deemed harmless. So I can't blame it solely on single mums.
Yeah, the key word here isn't single mums. The only reason why I mention single mums is because there's no control mechanism for reining it back in. At least where there is a husband, you know, where the mum of the son has a husband, at least there's always the chance that the husband will step up and say, all right, balance out the mum and say, look, you're doing a bit too much for him. He needs his own independence or something. Or at least if you were going to come in and speak to them, you could be like, Dad, I'm going to need you to balance out mum. You know what I'm saying? The structure's there. It's very hard to do that in a one-parent household. And this is the same for even if it was a single father as well. When you don't have both parents there to balance each other out, it's very hard to find middle ground. Think about in terms of, you know, trying to steady a steering wheel. One hand can do it, but two hands is safer, right? It's easier to find the middle ground with two hands.
Yeah.
One hand, you're more likely to waver and move from side to side and go either side of going straight ahead. And that's all I'm basically saying. When there's a single parent household, it's just very hard to get bearings on what is straightforward because only one person has complete say over it.
So I think it's I think you're right. I think there's room for, it's a very dangerous ground when you become a single parent because you're taking on an unknown area, especially when I've never experienced single life. I've never seen it in my family. I've never seen it in my close-knit family, my extended family. We've always stayed together. Sometimes in unhealthy relationships where they say, well, culturally we can't separate because we need to look like a unit, because what all other people say. Then there was those who work for it and they succeed. So for me to enter an unknown area, I think I'm grateful that I'm very conscious of the potential damage I can cause my son by either being too dependent, being to spoil him or to do certain things. Even how I feel about his father, making sure I don't deflect that on him. So it's a very conscious effort. And I feel like you're right. There are women who will deflect their emotions on their children, and sometimes to a point where they can't stand their son because they look like their father. And I find that absolutely mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So my son looks exactly like his father. I don't like his father, but I adore my son. Like, I separate that. So when I raise my son, I don't raise him. So my comment to your video was, the way I was going to raise my son is exactly the same way I was going to raise him, with his father present. So we always knew how we're going to raise our children based on the foundations that we have at home. The difference is now the support network has to be extended. So I have to make sure that he's got enough, like you said, male role models in his life. And it's not the only way to resolve it. But until he has a stepfather, and I've had men say to me, how would you like me to be in your son's life? Do you want me to be his father? He's got an active, but do you know what? It's a careful, because they don't know how to deal with it. They've never experienced taking on another person. So I appreciate that question. I find it a bit weird, but I appreciate it because they want to make sure they're not treading on anyone's toes.
Sure.
So my answer will always be, he's got an active father, and he's thriving off him. But I think a man can never have enough role models in their life, good role models in their life,
Very true.
because there'll be different parts and different. So am I okay to? If I have children with you, I would love for you to talk to him the way you talk to our children. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So for me, like, you have to constantly train your brain. The same way you're training your brain to be a father and you've never experienced it before, I think everyone has to train their brain to be that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I agree with you to an extent, but I also believe, like, something you said, you mentioned women don't have 100% proof live experience as a man to raise a man. But I believe also some men don't have that because they've not had great examples and they've had negative experiences in life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I feel, whilst you made that statement, I feel like it's not a fair reflection because not a lot of men know how to raise men.
No, yeah.
And
Fair, but I would also ask, why are women having children for these men? You know, that's the next thing I'd ask, because of course these men are out there and these men want to have sex, but I'd ask women,
But again,
unless it's forced, why are you procreating with this kind of person?
But again, you're using an extreme example. So there might be a guy who is a good man, good intended, but he doesn't have the correct foundation because he wasn't given them growing up. So he doesn't know how to be that father. So it's not a case where she's laid down with any man, any waste man. It doesn't have to be.
No, I'm not saying even waste man.
But I think, like, why are you having sex with this person, or why were you with him in the first place? He might have been an incredibly well articulate human being, but for some reason, something due to his lack of, like, something lacked in his life, where he is struggling to be a father. So he might not have the same mindset you have, the same mindset that Ben has, but he has good intentions. But as a result, he doesn't know how to raise his son with the correct.
If he's got good intentions, he's always got the opportunity to do better. One's asking you
But if
to
they're
be
limited in mind and
perfect.
stubborn.
But it's always going to be better than a woman trying to do it from the outside. Always. If you have the same male brain as the son you're trying to raise, you're going to be able to reach him in a way that a woman's just not.
But your aspiration as a man might be here. Not you personally, that person who's got good intentions, but a correct man or whatever, the real roof or the real limit is a lot higher. So they might think, I'm doing perfectly well raising my son like this, but they're limiting their son in their aspiration, limiting their sons in their teaching, in whatever it is, because that's all they've ever known. Whereas a woman could potentially, and trust me, I'm pro marriage and I'm pro raising. I believe a man and a woman need to raise, in order to raise young kings and queens, it's a requirement. But I believe a woman can also proactively choose to understand and reach out to other men, i.e. father, brothers, and whoever, to help build that. So like I said, you need a village to raise a child. So I don't think...
I don't think there's any iteration of this in which men and women are interchangeable. I think women are needed to help boys become who they need to become, and fathers are needed. And I don't think there's any kind of course you can take or any kind of extra help or somebody telling you something that's going to help you get there. I think there's something intrinsic about when a man speaks to his son that is necessary.
Correct.
There's and cannot, like I said at the beginning, can't be synthesized. I think we can have another man step in, but you see the key here, and that's one of the biggest lessons I've had to learn about fatherhood. The key to being a good father is not necessarily it's not in the same way that you'd grade being good at accounting, for example. You know, we all sit down, we take the test. You scored 90, you scored 95. You're probably a better accountant. It's not in that same way. There's no score. No one ever comes and scores you. All you have is what you have and an opportunity to grow, to learn, to develop, whatever it is. And what has been given to men and what has been given to women is fundamentally different.
Yeah.
So the starting point is different. Now,
Yep.
both of them have an opportunity to learn and to grow.
Yep.
And with a woman, she can learn and grow, and she can watch all the seminars and lectures about boys' development and so on and so forth. But what she's starting with is never going to be the same as what a man has. Plus, he has that opportunity to grow as well. So I really don't see any iteration of that situation in which you can get the ideal situation for children growing up without bringing them, both their mother and their father, as the best means for them to get everything they need to go on into life. No one said these children have to be perfect. No one said these children have to be, rich or the smartest or whatever it is, but to be the best person they can be and the most well-adjusted as possible.
No,
and it's a system that's worked for
I'm playing
millennia.
devil's advocate because I agree in a sense that my son is active in his his father's active in his life, and I never stopped that because to me I feel like it's pivotal for my son to have a male role model, to have a father, because like you said, when he speaks to him, he listens differently. So to me, I understand that, but I also understand there's a lot of pressure on women to be a wife, to be a mother, and I feel like the pressure is less on men to when it comes to marriage. I feel like a man's main priority is to be a breadwinner and to discipline.
But I would interject and say, where did that come from?
That's culture.
No, I think that rule or that pressure came from women. You want us to be providers.
No, I mean,
No,
we
but
can
hold
look
on a
at
second.
we can look at faith. We can look at culture. It's
Can I
always
clarify
been.
something?
Go
You're
ahead.
saying that men don't have the pressure to be husbands and fathers.
No, they do, but it's not the same pressure. I feel like women are like, so they say women or daughters are raised and boys are loved. So like in a sense that it's very very
that's
true.
with mums. That's with mums.
That's with mums, but then also with fathers, sometimes their role is to step in and discipline. But my main thing is I'm out on site, I'm bringing the money, and my role is to provide. Some men who live in a household don't know how to do anything besides provide. That's the only love language they have.
But my question is, where did that requirement come from?
And I'm saying, before we even get to where that requirement came from, I'm saying everything you're describing is them being a husband and a dad. Their pressures are different, but the pressure is still there. The pressure in terms of what is required of a man is not going to be the same as what's required of a woman in terms of the detail of it. But I don't think any one person can look at the others and say what's required of women is harder or easier. All it is that men are required to, no matter the circumstance, they have to deliver on a certain number of results, provide enough for their family. They have to also provide the discipline. They have to learn how to get the purchase of a woman and children for whatever is going on in their head. So they can be thinking as logically as possible and go to an emotional woman and an immature child and somehow build whatever legacy or whatever it is he has in whatever plan he has in his head. Learning how to do that, exactly. Incredible executive leadership skills that are required to actually run a proper home if you're doing it properly.
Correct.
And for a woman, yes, there's going to be a pressure for you to maybe learn how to keep your home or learn how to nurture children. But the truth is, when everybody does their role and works together, everything
it flows,
right?
No one
That's
is
the
more
whole point.
important than the other.
I think also the perception of marriage and the values of marriage have changed with time as well. It's very
Dramatically.
rare to find, because I've heard men say, well, she needs to provide as well. She needs to do this as well. He needs to do this as well. So I feel like the lines are being blurred, and that's why I struggle also to find someone who's on my wave, because when I say, oh, I want a guy who can provide, oh, so you're chasing money. No, if I wanted a rich guy, there's hella of them. They're waiting for me. Yeah. It's about how I want the ship to go. Yeah. I want someone to want to go in the same ship with me, and we're not trying to battle with each other.
And you see, this is what's key about being in teamwork. I've seen the best strikers on a football team come back and defend, right? Because you have the role of a striker does not mean you can't defend.
Correct.
But it does mean that if we're asking somebody, where are the goals, we're going to come to you.
Correct.
I've seen goalkeepers take penalties.
That's a great example.
That is a very good, right? And that's an example that men can relate to.
Thank you. So when we're talking about whether women work or men do housework or whatever, if you're functioning as a team, you're going to look at, well, what do we need to achieve here? What are our goals? Yeah. What are our shortcomings? How do we play? Yeah. And yes, there are going to be some situations. Not every man can provide the entire amount for what's required in this capitalist system, right? As soon as women have been introduced to the workforce, you've doubled the labor force. And so, of course, wages have stagnated because the cost of living's gone up. Yep. But now you've got two households, you don't have to pay people as much, right? The corporations love it. They've got twice as many workers to pick from. So what are we faced with? Situation where a lot of men are going to have to say to their wives, you need to work as well. That's because they're trying to achieve a financial aim.
But that's fine. Yeah. I agree with that, because your mindset and your way of thinking is still, I know my role, but the climate we're living in, we need to both chip in and do this in order for the long-term goal to be achieved. And that's fine. But what I mean is there's a difference between having that mindset of, if I have to, I'm going to need you to step in, and her going, do you know what, I'm ready to roll up my sleeves as well. And then there's actually, why should I have to provide for her? Yes. Why should I have to cook for him? Yes. And it's that negative mindset and stigma attached to it. So again, it's back to people saying to me, you're a strong woman. It's like, yeah, but I don't see it as a threat, because when you need me to step in and you need me to come and take a goal, even though I'm not in my position to shoot or whatever the technical word is, I ain't made for this.
But you know,
I'm going to be ready for it, but I don't want to. But if I have to, I'm going to do it, because we're teamwork.
You've touched one of the key determinators for a successful marriage, and that's clearly going to be your ability to work with one another. And the problem with a lot of the discussions around women's careers or how much men do in the house is that they're all very selfishly based. Yeah. You know, careers have been sold to women as a means with which they can self-actualize. They can get more money for themselves, because a lot of them will go out, climb the career and be like, well, this is about me. So when they go into a household, what they're first of all trying to protect is, this is about me. And so I want you to have what I have or more, so that I don't have to really contribute. Or they're thinking, I don't want too many responsibilities going to take me away from my career development. But I think corporations have done a very good job of convincing us that what they have to offer us is actually a worthy end goal, as opposed to a means to an end. If we looked at our careers as a way of serving our families, then we'd make different decisions. Correct. We wouldn't necessarily push in the same way. We would actually go, do you know what serves my family best? Now, when you get a family of people who are all thinking family-wise, like, how do we serve the family best?
You're on it. You're winning.
You get a whole different approach to all of this. Now, if your wife goes out and works, you're like, okay, I see how you're doing that, babe. I want your growth. I want to see your... But if you
because you know she's coming back to be able to provide for the family.
The team is working. The team is work. And then if she's like, oh, I need you to do some housework, you're not thinking, that's not my role. You're thinking, all right, that's how the team's going to be all right. You need me to track back and do some defensive work. All right, no problem. I'm right back there. But we're never really getting there, because everybody is first of all coming to the table going, my needs. This is about me first. Rather than us. And if you don't suit me, then I'm out.
I think that's another thing for me. One of my red flags is when it's a constant me, I'm not involved, because I'm a very us person. And earlier when we spoke about, like, in behind the scenes, we talk about, like, career-wise and stuff. I said, my son's my drive. And when I was married, every job opportunity, even though he can provide, if there's a way that ease up his stress... and he's willing for me to do so, that's my drive, because it's not for me to have my bank balance building and stacking, but to ease our future. And I think also you said when you spoke about women, I think it is some women, it's not all women, because some women are thriving and they'll be yearning for a similar setup to what their parents had in an idealistic way. But at the same time, the dream that was sold to women in regards to empowerment, will strongly be felt in years to come when they realize and they stop and go, hold up, wait, where's my family? Where's my children? The
it's
same way,
happening now already,
exactly
yeah.
the same way a man, to an extent, some of them are like, oh no, I'm enjoying this bachelor life. I'm gonna build by myself. I'm gonna do everything by myself, and then I'm gonna find a woman. And then it's like, one point you've achieved everything by yourself. You've done everything by yourself. You've accomplished everything, but you've got nothing else to show.
There are
besides,
a few things.
So women are leveling up to men, and I find it very sad. But to an extent, it goes back to and you might go, oh no, and I got two men here, but it also goes back to men and why women in the first place, why there are single mothers, and why I feel like also some men need to take responsibility and change the narrative so that women actually feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable and comfortable enough to go, do you know what, I'll leave this in your hand, and I know I'm not going to be left with no money, no roof, and I have a child to raise by myself. So I think there has to be something also when it comes to raising these men, even in a mother and father unit, where something's going wrong in the society, where there's more and more women feeling that they have to constantly secure themselves, and I can't let go. I have to keep building, and I can't let go. And you've built like a man.
But I don't think. I think even if you train up the world's best, manliest, masculine man who's ready to take all the responsibility and everything. Right now, this is so culturally embedded. This is systematic at this point. Women have been given a whole vision at this point that's gone down generations. It's in movies, now it's in TV shows, it's in corporations, it's everywhere. So it's not an idea that you can just switch off. It takes both people being very intentional about living this kind of lifestyle and saying, I want to work with you, and I'm not going to let corporate pursuit or let financial or economic reasons be my entire decision-making situation. I really value family, and I recognize that, I can go away and do 3-4 years studying for a career, but how much time and effort have I really put into trying to build my family up or trying to be the best wife or mother I can be? Right. Have I taken the same level of focus on it? No. Have I taken the same level of planning to being a husband as I have to, all my pursuits and things that I want to do? Probably not. And I think when both people start to be very conscious of that, then we'll start to see it. But men can't take responsibility for what women have done. Women can't take responsibility for what men have done. All it has to be is until women can take accountability for themselves and men take accountability for themselves, correct, we're never going to get anywhere. Because the thing is, we like to share the wins. We like to share the L's and keep the wins. Until we switch out of that mindset, we keep our L's and we share our wins. Then we're never going to get anywhere. It's true. It's always going to be a case of I'm not doing very well and I blame you. It's your fault. But then when I'm doing well, I won't attribute it to you. I'll say I did well. I'll say despite the circumstances, I rose up. I did well. And that's
though you're in
together. They find a way to disconnect it. Yeah.
This is it. Women can simultaneously say men are oppressing them.
Some women, my friends.
Look, it's implied in what I'm about to say. If you let me finish the sentence.
My bad. Eat your grapes.
Women can simultaneously say men are oppressing me and simultaneously say we run the world. Those two things don't have to be intellectually consistent for them, because when they are winning, they genuinely feel like they're running the world. 100%. And when they are losing, they genuinely feel like it must be a man's fault. The patriarchy stopped me. So either way, until we get to a point, and this is just simple functional logic, we can't get to a point where you can work with someone until you're ready to share your wins and keep your losses. Because
this applies both ways, and
exactly.
But that's exactly what Ola said.
I get it. You're so gas. This guy,
no, do you know why?
He's having a fan moment right now.
Because do you know why? I've just kept quiet. Because everything that you've said for weeks and weeks and weeks, I've been saying the same thing. So for now, people can see. It's not just me that thinks like this.
No, but there's nothing that he said that's too left from what we believe in. No. But what I'm saying is, to an extent, women have to be held accountable, but also men have to be held accountable for things to why certain kids are fatherless. Do you know what I mean? And the trauma that comes with it. And you can't.
But I think if we're really honest.
Hold on, wait, before you, because I would say this. With the progression that has happened over the decades, who has made more progression, men or women?
Women.
Who have had to adjust more to that progression?
Men.
So with that, you can clearly say that it isn't, this isn't a men versus women. It isn't the men that need to adjust. it's women that need to adjust to their new status and their new
I'm not
platform.
referring to careers. I'm not referring
That-
to
it's not
making
even
money.
just
I'm referring
careers.
to men
It's not-
being present in their children's lives,
But that has to go with
regardless
it.
of
But,
how
but that has to go with
their
it.
circumstances unfold.
Because just like Ola has explained, you've reached a
Your
level
spokesman.
now. Huh?
You're his new spokesman. I love it.
Women have reached a level
Yeah.
now where they expect men to have, or they've always expected men to have, what they have or better, and men have had to adjust to that. That's why you have some men saying, "Well, I can't get to that
So I think
because
so it's a mixture of women who are hungry and they want to be independent and they want whatever, and it's also women who've had to be forced into it and they just have to adapt
100%.
and be, because until you find that person who would be, so when in my case, when you've left a marriage, which you don't believe in divorce in the first place, but
Yeah.
here we are. You're not going to jump into a marriage for the sake of a marriage, for the sake of not having, a broken home or whatever. So there's people like myself who will continuously, I have to now adjust. I'm not going to be a damsel in distress and cry about it. And my son now, I have to deflect my energy on my son. He's now upset because I'm upset. He lacks confidence because I lack confidence. Like, I need to be solid for him to be solid, but also be a nurturer at the same time. So there are some women who have to step up because they have to.
Yeah.
And there are women who want to step up because they can and because they want to be better than men. That's cool, and I understand that exists, but we can't allow you guys to get that confused and think, okay, all women want to do this, because some women don't want to.
No, yeah,
I
you're
actually
right,
don't
yeah,
want
you're
to.
right,
I want you
you're
to
right.
take that weight, and I want you
Yeah.
to be the man I need you to be, and I'll be the woman that you need me to be.
But
On
there's also a very key distinction that needs to be made
Go
here.
on.
There's a difference between what we say we want and what we do in practice.
Okay.
And if what we want really informed our decisions, we'd get different results. And so what you can have in a lot of situations is women saying, yeah, of course I want to have a 2-parent house. I want to work with a man, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty of, can you control your mouth, or can you hold back on something you want to say in order for the
Oi.
peace, or
No,
whatever it
that's
is.
in it. No,
Then,
that's
no,
it.
but
That
then
is
you
very
make a
much in it.
decision that is counter to what you say you're trying to achieve.
I get what you mean.
So whilst you might say at face value, I want to have a family, your everyday decisions are showing I actually want my own self-actualization at the expense of my family. And so in fact, I don't actually want my family that much. So what we need to do is now start translating what we want down to our day-to-day decisions. What are the skills I need to learn in order to build a strong marriage before I bring
And
children
that
into
applies
the
to men as well.
picture?
You spoke about
Exactly,
it earlier, how
yeah.
traveling is no longer exciting to you guys because you're trying to adjust to the whole being present and being there for your family. So it's all good. People going, I want to be a father, I want to be a husband, but then you're out doing the most,
Yeah.
or you're out cheating on the background. So it's just like some people are saying they want something, but their behavior is showing otherwise.
Yeah.
I'm very mindful of time. How long have you been running for?
We've got 9 minutes left.
All right, cool. There's more stuff I want to talk about, but I feel like we don't have time, which is really annoying. But I appreciate your
You come for a part 2,
your
innit?
Wednesday service.
Come to a part 2.
Yeah.
This
Come
guy,
back again. Yeah.
third time. You better pick him up, boy. you better just
You're not
play.
coming to me.
He drives.
So guys, do you want to come back to South London so you can film the rest of us? We are in South, but further south.
Deepest,
Well,
darkest.
you need like visas.
Do you have trams where you?
One day trams are a wild concept to me. 1 minute you're in a high street, next minute you're going for a field.
It makes no sense, man. Trams are just doing their own thing.
Like, it works in like Europe when you go to like
for real.
Amsterdam. You're like, oh, this is pretty. In Croydon, ugh, what's happening? Why are the gypsies like with the horses? And next minute you're outside the HMV. I'm baffled.
Yeah, to be honest, Croydon's not a real place. Croydon's a figment of our imaginations. We're all dreaming about Croydon at the same time.
We appreciate you leaving, your home, the comfort of your borough or your city, however you want to call it.
This is it, man.
It means a lot to us.
My council's bankrupt. What more could I do?
That's so true. Oh, that's wild. I can't believe Westfield's not opening as a result of that.
Wow.
Westfield was going to open. It was still going to be put on hold. But the minute it became bankrupt, all the investors are like, why are we doing this for?
Yeah.
I
But,
was going to invest in buy a property. Oh,
but the
Oh,
thing
we
is,
did.
but that's
We
the thing.
bought.
That's what I did. I bought a house there on the basis that Westfield's going to open one day. But we're okay because value's still going up. But it's the people who've built loads of apartments and loads of new complexes and loads of new whatever anticipating Westfield.
Can you sue the?
Screwed.
Can you sue the?
You're gonna see them.
The council?
They're broke.
They're
They're
broke. They're
They're
bankrupt,
literally
man.
bankrupt.
But we still got Box Park though. So
Yeah.
there's always Box Park and Westfield. Box Park and Westfield.
But I'm
And
not
Box
gonna
Park
lie,
came, but not Westfield.
Westfields would have made money though. It would have still
What?
helped. It would have helped in the long term.
A lot.
But they're just seeing it as the bar is kind of doing poor right now. So we got Morley's. Several Morley's.
Hey. Morley's.
All right. So any final thoughts that you'd like to add to what we've spoken about? There's so much I wanted to talk about, but we've gone to levels, so I appreciate it anyway.
I mean, if we got like an extra 5 or 10 minutes, we can do that. I mean, I know I said I wanted to leave at 9, but
I mean, they got to leave at 9, innit?
oh, okay then. Well, then yeah, let's really wrap this up. I guess my final thoughts are, I just hope that everyone, I'd like to put my intention out there so that people can hear me via my intention, which is that everything I've said today is said out of love. It's not said to simply rebuke or condemn people, but it's simply so that we can consider how to do better to get the aims that we say we want. And, you know, I know so many people who want to have happy marriages and want to have good families and they want to build something that lasts and all these different things, but are just so lost in the process. All my ideas and thoughts that I've shared here today are towards that aim. And you know, one of the most beautiful things about my faith is the fact that the concept of redemption is built in to my faith, which is that you can go the wrong way, but there's always hope that you can come back.
Correct.
And the first step to that is realizing you went wrong, which is going to be tough for a lot of people, but it's the first step. It's saying, look, I was sold a lie, or, you know, I've done some things in a terrible way before, or I'm not always the wisest, or I need to learn, or I need to grow, whatever it is that takes that. And then to start making your way back, you need that final, that North Star that you were mentioning before, that you're heading back towards, so that you do have the skills to be a husband, be a wife, be a father, be a mother. You do have somebody to empower you in that. For me, there's no power like the power that God provides. But I really just want to make sure that nobody leaves listening to me thinking, all right, so there's no hope for me then, or, you know, oh, what, this guy is always so judgmental. That's not the point. Please don't misconstrue my points. It's all out of love and all out of a desire to see us all do better.
No, I mean, sorry, the 5 minutes.
And I'm not
now.
perfect.
You've just taken out the 5 minutes.
He's
So we can't even speak
articulated
no
it
more.
well. Although he's
I'm
done
joking. No, that was very beautifully
wonderful
articulated.
with words.
Ben, is there
Wonderful
anything you'd
with
like to
words.
say?
I don't even know where to. How do you follow up? That's like,
Whatever he said.
yeah, that's like going after the Mariah Carey or Beyonce. I can't go after that. So
Not even Jay-Z, you know.
Jay-Z or someone like this, yeah, man. Jeez,
Oh, man. Say what you need to say, bro. Say it how you feel.
Kids, don't do drugs.
No, let's all do better. Let's all do better. If we can, let's stay together. If we can't, let's learn
Work
how.
together.
Yeah, let's learn how we can work together. That's I think the main thing.
I'm very grateful that you came. Genuinely. I'm sorry we messed up.
Thank you for having me. No. We don't need to keep going back to the
Look,
fact that you guys
you
messed
got
up and
five-
had me
you got
waiting
five-
here by
you got
myself.
five more
It's
minutes
for
of
an
this.
hour.
This was amazing. I really.
We've got 5
really
more
enjoyed
minutes
it.
of me apologising, then we're done. Khalas. But I think you touched on you've highlighted so many points that I think we kind of all share common grounds of. There'll be certain things that maybe you see different than others would see, and it's only because of life and how you've chosen to step outside the box and analyse, whereas not a lot of people are self-reflective and not a lot of people want to evolve. So I really hope we have inspired someone to think outside the box a little bit.
I've
And
got too much
change the
time on my
narrative.
hands, man.
No, but that's the thing. We waste a lot of time coasting and being stuck in our ways and blaming than we are to stop and go, wait, hold up, what can I do differently? Well, let me try some trial and error. We're not given the manual to just be robots. So I appreciate how you think and how you've chosen to take on life despite the circumstances, good and bad. But I think something that you mentioned, which is important, is intentions. And I think the first thing we can do is start with good intentions, and then from there we can learn. If we start with nothing and we're coasting, or even like intentionally getting to know someone, intentionally wanting to have children, all these things come from a place of good energy, and I think that's a good starting point. But there's nothing more I can add to what you said,
Yeah, it's really
and I'm gonna let
good.
you have that.
It's all good.
It's all part of the feeling guilty for standing you up. But yeah, guys, on that note, you have been listening to Growing Up British. You can catch me on I Am Hebz. You got Growing Up British on Instagram, which is growingupbritish.h.
Yeah.
Subscribe on YouTube, Mama Hebz. Ben,
It's Ben of LDN.
Uncle's favourite uncle
What? Uncle's favorite uncle. What is that?
from Reading. And finally, our special guest, please, where can they find you?
At Ola the Comedian, OLATHD. Don't ask me if it's DA. THD, spell things correctly here. Ola the Comedian.
Oh, duh. Sorry, I was
So
late.
many people are like, is it the as in the? As in
One
THD? I'm
articulates
like,
themselves
hey,
beautifully. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But guys, thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate you. Ben, it's all your fault. Guys, take care.